Hello and welcome to Sunday Politics, reaching you live from our global headquarters here in the nation's commercial nerve center, Lagos. I'm Jeffrey Uzama, bringing you up to speed with the big things happening in the polity. And it's been a very busy weekend, but especially for the presidency. The president that actually jetted out to Rome in Italy, exactly to the Vatican, to be part of the inauguration of Pope Leo XIV. And at that event, where different leaders of the world, including J.D. Vance, the Vice President of the United States, was also in attendance. So the formal inauguration. But this, what you're seeing is the president, when it was time for the leaders, world leaders, to have a handshake and a warm conversation with the Pope. So you see President Bola Tinubu in warm handshake with Pope Leo XIV there, who had actually invited the president to come and be part of this very special occasion. So it was just beautiful to see. It's been a while I saw the president in a suit, literally looking totally different. Maybe he'll be wearing this a little bit more often. So that's Pope Leo and President Bola Tinubu at the Vatican. But that was not all we saw that happened at the Vatican. Some level of, breaking down the walls of politics. So we also saw pictures emerging where the presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the last election, as well as the former governor of Ekiti State, who also served as a minister, was seen with the president exchanging banter at that particular event, where I understand from the president's handler that in the conversation, the president, they were actually telling the president, oh, thank you for coming to our church. Well, the president said, well, I'm the leader of the delegation here of Nigeria. So you saw Kayode Fayemi. I wish we could show you that picture. Kayode Fayemi, President Bola Tinubu, Peter Obi, and I think Sheyi Tinubu, the son of the president, was also part of that whole, event that happened in Rome. So sometimes, don't kill yourself over the political class. They have a way of just finding a way to make up somehow in between all of that. But hey, today on the program, I'll have two big conversations. One is something played out yesterday, let's say at the weekend, among the Northwest. Northwest is the region with the highest number of states in Nigeria, and they have a critical mass. And it's an important zone when it comes to elections, because elections is about numbers. And, well, the stakeholders, made up of governors, made up of the party chairman, top political leaders that converge, and they've passed a vote of confidence on the president. And say, well, as far as 2027 is concerned, it's a home run for him. And so they have actually said, look, Mr. President, you have our votes as far as that is concerned. So that's one part of the conversation. On the other part, I'm going to be talking to an elder statesman, Chief Bode George, who will be joining me later on the show to talk about the issues around the PDP. But my first guest is going to be the governor of Kaduna State, Senator Sani. But let's take a look and listen to that particular stakeholders meeting where the vote of confidence or the endorsement for a second term for President Bola Tinubu was done by the Speaker of the House of Representatives.
To jointly and collectively move a motion to support that we are behind him, we are together with him, and is our only candidate in the 2027 election. I say no on behalf of the whole stakeholders. Those who support to say aye. Those who support to say aye. Those against to say nay. No nay.
Interesting part, that part of no nay, it just amuses me. But let's bring in our guest, the governor of Kaduna State, Senator Sani, joining us virtually, I guess, from his office in Kaduna State. Your Excellency, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me.
All right, I was just on a lighter note. I was wondering who were the nays in the room that did not read the room to say the ayes in that sense. But I saw that there was a correction and said there are no nays. But tell us, Your Excellency, the election, officially, the campaign season has not started, but we're seeing unofficial moves around campaign already going on across political lines. What informed this decision by the Northwest stakeholders to begin early, to come with a common voice in that sense, to endorse President Bola Tinubu for a second term?
Okay, thank you very much again for having me. I think the reason, of course, you must be aware that I'm the coordinating governor of the Northwest Zone of the APC, meaning it's my responsibility first to bring the entire APC stakeholders together, from the governors to members of the House of Reps, the senators, the ministers, as well as the critical stakeholders, former governors and former senators. So, of course, most of us have been talking since after our last meeting, which we held in last year. Yesterday's meeting was a second meeting, and of course, we look critically and realize that from last year when we had the first meeting to yesterday, there were a lot of developments that happened in Northwest Zone because of the intervention and, of course, the support of Mr. President to our very important zone. One of the areas we look into is the issue of security. You agree with me that, let me give Kaduna State as an example, and I can also give example of many states here in Northwest. Let me start with my state, Kaduna State. When we came in 2023, there are about 4 local governments that you cannot go freely because of the problem of banditry, insurgency, and kidnappings. These local government I'm mentioning are Igabi local government, Benengwari local government, Giwa local government, and Kachia local government, and some part of Koro local government. But today, if you are someone who comes to Kona regularly, you will agree with me that you can go to Benengwari without any escort today. But I could recall vividly when President Bola Tinubu visited Kaduna during his election campaign, precisely on the 12th of December 2022. We drove from Kaduna to Benengwari with President Bola Tinubu when he was going around for his campaign. And I remember at that time the GOC One Mechanized Division was led General Labaje. He provided about more than 50 armed vehicles. That means ammo tanks with hundreds of military personnel along the axis of Kaduna to Benengwari, which is not more than 122 kilometers. And of course, today, the road we went with President Bola Tinubu on the 12th of December with hundreds of military personnel, many armored vehicles. Today, you can travel there to Benengwari without any security escort. And of course, in the last 6 months, we opened most of the markets that were closed for like 7 years. Some of the cattle markets were also closed, and grains market that were closed for about 7 years. We opened them now in Benengwari. So this is just one local government, and the same stories also is happening in Igabi local government, Giwa local government, Kachia local government, as well as Koro local government. So this is Kaduna. So we appreciate most of this effort by President Bola Tinubu in addressing the security challenges in the Northwest. And of course, I'm not saying the problem has been resolved. I'm not saying the entire problem has been addressed. This is one area. The second area is agriculture. You will agree with me that in the last year, precisely, if you know the prices of most of these commodities in the market, a lot of people are complaining because common man cannot afford it. I'm not saying the prices have really stabilized now, but we're seeing some results. Things are coming down gradually. The prices of rice, maize, millets, and many other commodities are coming down gradually in our market. So for us, and another major intervention by Mr. President is infrastructural development in the northwestern part of Nigeria. For me, as someone who is a governor of Kaduna State, when I was in the Senate for 4 years, I was battling to ensure that the Abuja, Kaduna, Zaria, Kano Road is completed. But unfortunately, we did not succeed. The contractors abandoned the job. Of course, because of insecurity, today you can travel from Abuja to Kaduna with your eyes closed. This is an achievement. We are not saying that we are here yet, but we are making progress. So when you look at most of the few things I've just mentioned, you will agree with me that there are other social interventions by the federal government that has to do with support to small businesses through nano support. And I can tell you here in Kaduna, we benefited a lot, and that has really revitalized the economies of the people that are small businesses. And that, for me, has gone a long way in addressing the problem of poverty, creating jobs. Yet, I'm not saying we have achieved much, but we can see progress. And because of that,
yeah, Your Excellency, I know that you have a lot to say, but I want to throw in as many questions within the time we have as possible. So, sometimes people will say that, look, some of these things we can see, at least some of the things in Kaduna and in some part of the Northwest, but people always say that it is convenient for the political class to say these are the achievements because they are direct beneficiaries, and maybe the things that are not quite resolved in that sense that will affect the common man is played down to the fact that, okay, it's not there yet, but it's going to get better. So is this a decision of the political class or a decision of the people from the Northwest?
Whatever we're doing, we consult the political class. But I can tell you, in democracy, you cannot say that everyone will follow your position. You cannot necessarily say that everybody will agree with their own position, not even in Nigeria. Everywhere in the world, we are Democrats. We cannot say that everybody in northwestern part of Nigeria will certainly agree with us. But in democracy, the majority are what matters. And I can tell you, majority of people of Northwest will agree with me. We know how we started in 2023. That was the reason why I was giving an example of Kaduna. But I can tell you the same stories goes in many other states in northwestern part of Nigeria. And that is the reason why we sat down collectively. We agreed that it is time for us now to support President Bola Tinubu because of what he has done to northwest part of Nigeria. And let me give you another example. Today, we have 12 ministers from the northwest. And of course, we have the chief of defense staff, the chief of air staff, they're all from the northwest. We sit down together collectively. When I called the meeting yesterday in Kaduna, all the ministers from the northwest came together. We sat down, we came up with a common agenda. That is the most important thing. For me, it's not about sitting down, complaining. We need to come together. That has always been my position. Let's come together. Because you see, that was what we lost in the last government. Yes, we had a president who was from Kaduna, from Northwest, and also from the North. But there was never a time we sat down collectively to articulate a common agenda. Is it on education, on healthcare, on human capital development generally, or on infrastructure? That was the reason why we did not achieve much, because there must be a common agenda. There must be something we must sit down together collectively and agree. What can we really pursue, benefit of the people of Northwest and Northern Nigeria in general? But that was that. And this time around, we learned a big lesson. We need to sit down, come up with a very important position. And I can tell you, the meeting yesterday, it was not only about endorsing President Bola Tinubu, but we sat down collectively. The speaker was there, the deputy secretary were there, the ministers were there, government appointees were there, House of Reps members were there, senators were there, so that we can have a common position, how we can continue to advance some of the areas we believe we need quick intervention, support from the federal government. What can state government do?
Yeah, Your Excellency, the reason I'm asking that question is because whichever is the ruling party at whatever time, we have seen these kinds of endorsements and coming together of top stakeholders in the political party. But we cannot take away the fact that when it comes to things that trickle down to the common man, the North still has issues around high level of poverty, issues around high level of out-of-school children, issues around insecurity. So when we see this coming together again and again, it sounds more political than result-oriented situation. We can go, you've been in the trenches even way back 1993, so you've seen it all. Yeah. So, but you understand what I'm saying? So how will this translate to anything in the real sense?
I can tell you, I agree with you 100%, because I also agree with you. I came from the trenches. I fought successive governments in the past. During the military, I went to detention a few times, fighting for justice, equality. Of course, this time around, where I agree to 100% is that when I came in as a governor, what I did, I looked at the poverty index of the entire northern Nigeria, not only Kaduna State. Don't forget, I was the chairman of the Senate Committee on Banking. I had the data, the statistics from the Development Finance Department of the Central Bank, from the SDGs. I can tell you sitting here, the poverty index we met 2023 when we came in. I have the statistics, I have the data, I have the numbers. Today, I can tell you, things are getting better, but nobody can tell you we can address this problem even in the next 10 years. And I will tell you why. Because I'm a very realistic person. When we came in, we had over 60 to 65% of our people that are completely financially excluded, many in northern part of Nigeria, particularly in Northwest. And because of this problem of insecurity, which I can tell you, largely is an economic issue because of poverty, unemployment. That was the reason why our people can easily be recruited by these bandits. That was the issue of out-of-school children. When I came in Kaduna, what we met, I can tell you, over 350,000 of our people were out of school when we came in. Today, we're addressing the problem gradually. When I sat down 2 months ago with the vice president of the World Bank, we sat down, we looked at the UNICEF statistics, and I can tell you, out of the 18.2 million of out-of-school children, 7 years ago or 6 years ago, when you look at the figures, they are not as much as 18.2 million as of today. Not were responsible for about 70%. Today, the figure is different. From 2023, I can tell you the figure was about 80% of school children were domiciled in northern Nigeria. That is the reason why when I look at the figure today, I have seen improvement. I've considered we're heading into the right direction because we're addressing the problem gradually. But this problem did not start 2 years ago. It started many years back because we were docile. We did not approach the issue holistically. We did not sit down as a team, as a group, to look at this issue and address it. We had the opportunity to pass. We didn't do it. That was the reason why in my last interview, I made it clear that we collectively let our people down. But this time around, we had a president who gave us opportunity. He gave us some position. And that was the reason why I called everyone to Kaduna yesterday as a coordinating governor for the Northwest. We did not only talk about politics. We also talk about developmental areas, how we can be able to carry our people along. What are our demands to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu? But I can tell you, when he returned from his trip, I will be there to meet him, to tell him, yes, this is some of the demands we need quickly. I can tell you also that, yes, we're happy because of the infrastructural intervention we're having here in the Northwest. If you look at it critically, you will agree with me that a lot of intervention are going on in northwestern part of Nigeria. And simply because we are determined to keep pushing Mr. President to address most of these issues that affect our people. But we cannot do it if we don't sit down as a team collectively. But the issue of poverty, the issue of unemployment, I agree with you. The North really need to sit down and face this reality if we really want to really bring back the glory of our own zone and our region. But I'm happy, everyone, from the ministers, from the senators, House of members, the governors were all on the same page for the first time. And that was the reason why in my last interview, I made it clear. If we want to address, we must be on the same page. Because if you are talking about what are the symptoms and drivers of this insecurity, why is it that we are not really winning a lot of battles when we come to the issue of fighting banditry? I made it clear in my last interview that we cannot win it through kinetic approach, neither through giving people these palliatives. We must look at the drivers and symptoms. What are these drivers and symptoms? We have to address the gap in terms of economic prosperity between our people who are living in the urban area and those in the rural areas. Because when you look at the rural areas of here in Northwest, you agree with me that there is a lot of poverty. We have a lot of deficit in terms of infrastructure, in terms of addressing education, in terms of addressing healthcare, in terms of many other basic issues that we need to address. So we are really mindful of this part.
All right, Your Excellency, we're going to talk about the income distribution if we have the time. But I don't want to talk about Northwest, start talking about Kaduna. That will not be fair. And there's something that has happened under your administration. And I'm asking you this question because when we see what is working, we should be able to identify. When we see what is not working, we'll be very strong in criticizing. Since you came into office, I think the level of attacks we've seen in southern Kaduna has drastically reduced. It was like every other day there was an attack in southern Kaduna. The reason I'm asking is because how can that be replicated across parts of the north? Less the northwest, the north central, the northeast in that sense. What did you do to contain the frequency of attack? Did you pay bandits? Did you use kinetic? What exactly did you do?
Thank you very much. I think the approach is what is more important as a leader. When I was elected on May 29, I gathered everyone after we left the swearing in. I made it clear to everyone, I'm the governor for everyone. That is number one. And I made it clear to everyone in Kaduna, I would not rule Kaduna concerning anything to do with religious affiliation, political affiliation, or ethnic affiliation. Because as a leader, I was elected to be fair to everyone, irrespective of party affiliation, religion, or ethnicity. And again, you see, after the election, we sat down with some of the people close to me, and I made it clear to all of them, yes, I lost the election in Southern Kaduna, because many local governments in Southern Kaduna voted for PDP, but a few also voted for APC, but still we won the election. So I told everyone that it's about governance. It's not about politics now. So, and we are going to take development to every part of Kaduna State and will be fair to everyone. Now, what I did was very simple. We sat down, we looked at the infrastructural deficit, and I look at Southern Kaduna, and I look at other part of Kaduna. For instance, I was a senator representing Kaduna Central. Kaduna Central benefited tremendously more than any other zone because they are at the center. But southern part of Kaduna, I can tell you here that I realized there were a lot of infrastructural deficits, and I look at it critically. And I made it clear to everyone, particularly some of my political associates, that we will look at local governments that have issues of infrastructure and focus on them. No politics, no religion, is about governance. And today I'm happy. We are taking development to every part of Kaduna State, southern part of Kaduna. Today, we are constructing roads in southern part of Kaduna, in northern part of Kaduna, and central, and even central part of Kaduna. But the fact of the matter is, we carry everyone along. Second thing we did was that, look, we realized that our state is the heartbeat of the Middle Belt. Whether you agree with me or not, southern Kaduna, for me, is the heartbeat of the Middle Belt. That was the reason why I made it clear to everyone. Look at just some few months ago, there was communal crisis in Plateau State, some crisis in Benue State. But for the first time, there was never a spillover in southern part of Kaduna or in Kaduna State. It's simply because we are now making sure that everyone is carried along. We made it clear to everyone as a governor. I'm not a governor for any religion. I'm a governor for everyone of Kaduna State who belongs here in Kaduna State. Not only that, another thing we did that was very, very important. We sat down with the stakeholders, our traditional institution, our religious leaders. We made sure that we carry them along. They also help us in making sure that they reach out to our communities, sending this message, having regular meetings with our traditional rulers and religious leaders. So we're on the same page with our religious leaders, traditional rulers, and time to time, as a governor, I attend most of these activities both in the mosque and in the church, simply because this is what...
Your Excellency, my apologies if I was butting. So are you saying the drivers of those consistent attacks were more religious and ethnic than even criminality? Is that what you're alluding to?
Because most of the problem we had in Kaduna in the past is farmers' hardest crisis, communal crisis, religious crisis. Even, I can tell you, most of the attacks were not even banditry, were more of farmers' hardest, religious crisis, and communal crisis. But today, in the last 2 years, we have not experienced one single communal or religious crisis in Kaduna. The banditry, I'm not saying it has been eradicated completely. Yes, we have some pockets of banditry attacks in some pockets of areas within Kaduna. But that does not mean we are not making progress. But that has reduced tremendously here in Kaduna. When you're talking about states that have this banditry, kidnappings, as well as insurgency, you will not be talking about Kaduna State today, because you can go around Kaduna today, go to Kachia, go to Kauru, people are moving around, doing their normal activities with their eyes closed without any problem. And you see, if we don't bring, why I was emphasizing on this communal and religious issue is simply because you must make people to believe in the government. And the only way they can believe in the government is when there is justice, when there is equity, when there is fairness. That is the only way they can be able to work with the government. You know, Kaduna State, we are a state that is highly diverse. We are very cosmopolitan. So as a leader, you have to always be on top of most of these issues, carry everyone along. That's the reason why a lot of religious leaders came out openly and endorse our government and support what we are doing. Because we...
All right, Governor, let's talk about that diversity. You said that the state is very diverse, but I'm looking at, maybe you give me, if my facts are not right, maybe you can correct me, but let's talk about that fairness and equity in that sense. You are a governor, a Muslim, the deputy is a Muslim, the speaker, I think, is a Muslim. I think the head of service is a Muslim, the minister, a Muslim. When that is seen in that sense, because I remember your predecessor had openly, like I understand it, made some open statement in terms of continuity of maybe a particular religion over the other. I don't know how he put it, so I don't quote him wrongly. But when a state is that diverse, especially north and south in that state, and you have one religion dominating for over a period of time, how do you want to give the people who are dominated in this sense, maybe the Christians in Kaduna, a sense of belonging, that they are part of the government?
I can tell you there are a lot of other appointments at the level of the federal government that personally I have decided to send people from the southern part of Kaduna. And the head of service is not from, is not a Muslim, she's a Christian. I just appointed her myself some few months ago. So because we are trying as much as possible to carry everyone along. So most of this information you're getting might not necessarily be right. A lot of other appointments we met at the federal level are not Muslims, they are Christians. That is the reason why people are extremely confident, they are happy. But the most important area I just mentioned to you is about taking development to every part of Kaduna State. The common man in Kaduna, what is more important is when you are construction road, you are building hospitals, you are building things that will affect their lives directly. Are you really fair to every part of Kaduna? That is what is more important to them because they want to see development. Today, all the projects we are doing, we are ensuring that we are taking it to every part of Kaduna State. In fact, just as you are talking about now, some people are even accusing me of taking a lot of roads to southern Kaduna because of, if you look at the road we're constructing from Sanga to Kapanchan, is one of the longest roads we're doing in Kaduna. The road we're constructing from Madakia to Jama'a is the longest road also in Kaduna. The one we are also doing within Kapanchan Township right now that we're not completed is one of the major projects we're doing. And at the same time, as we're speaking, most of the hospitals we are rebuilding, re-equipping are in southern part of Kaduna. It's not because I want to favor southern part of Kaduna, but because I want to ensure that we have equal infrastructure in every part of Kaduna State, equal development in every part of Kaduna State, without politics or religion or ethnicity. That's for me is more important. As a governor, I made it clear. That is not my concern. My concern is development to every part of Kaduna. So that is the reason why anyone who lives in Kaduna, and that's the reason why, let me give you an example. When I came in, most of the House of members from PDP that are in...
Oh, dear.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead. That's wind down. We just have like 3 minutes, sir.
Okay, let me give you an example now, quickly. When we came in, you will agree with me that most of the members of the House of Reps in the last election, that won the election, are of PDP in Southern Kaduna. But today, as we are speaking, the member representing Zangon Katab and Jaba local government have since decamped to APC. The member representing our local government has since decamped from PDP to APC. 4 House of Assembly members from Southern Kaduna have also decamped from PDP to APC. The member of Labour Party in Southern Kaduna also have decamped back to APC. And I'll tell you why. The reason is simple, because they told me clearly, at this level, it would be almost impossible for anyone to win election in Southern Kaduna if they are in any other party other than APC. And I asked them why. Because today they can see development, they can see equality, they can see justice, they can see that infrastructural development is now taken to every part of Kaduna State. Not only Southern Kaduna. If you come to Zone 2, where I represented as a senator in the last dispensation, or in the 9th Senate, you will agree with me that today, the member represent Igabi local government, who won election in PDP, has also decamped to APC. As we are speaking, there are about 2 or 3 House of members from PDP that are coming back to a party in the next 2 weeks. That is progress. It's simply because we are doing something right, and everyone is happy. The electors are happy, the people who are happy. For me, that is the most important thing.
I wish we had more time to dig deep into these reasons for defecting, because that has been a contentious issue, because you had actually said that PDP is dead in Nigeria. Maybe you respond to why you made that statement in just 30 seconds, because I have a PDP chieftain waiting to join in on the conversation.
No, the reason why I talk about PDP having crisis is simply because here in Kaduna, I can tell you many of the members of the House of State Assembly elected under PDP have come to APC. And of course, for me, it's not about politics. It's about reality. And of course, as a politician, nobody is forcing anyone to count. What is more important, if you realize that your people are more comfortable with a particular political party, and you believe you can only win election in that political party, it is your own decision. Nobody in Kaduna was forced to leave his party to APC. But because of the fact that we are doing something right, they have seen development, they have seen that we are carrying everyone along. That's the reason why they come to our party.
All right, Excellency. My apologies, we're totally out of time. Well, the conversation among the political class is totally different from the conversation among the common men, commoners on the streets, because the truth about it is that things are very tough, extremely tough for the common man, but the politicians, you know, will continue to make... No, Your Excellency, we're totally out of time.
Well, to say one thing to you here. That depends on how you look at it. Look, we are not Nigeria, we are not just starting this thing today. Let me be very frank with you. When we talk with data and statistics. Many people have forgotten what was happening as of 2 years ago. You see, I don't want to speculate here. I like talking just on data and statistics.
Your Excellency, we have only 30 seconds. 30 seconds, please.
When someone tells you that things are really bad, it depends on what he means by things are really bad. We are not saying the problem has been addressed. We are not saying that things are really 100% perfect, but we are making progress. I can tell you that things are better and are getting better. No one should deceive himself. If someone comes here who is from PDP, I can look at him and tell him, he will sit down and tell me what were the statistics and data as of 2023 If you don't have that, I cannot have conversation.
Well, coincidentally, Your Excellency, that data was handed over by Muhammadu Buhari, a member of your party, the APC, to Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So it's a creation of, that's why I'm saying what they say. I'm also a journalist. I have data as well to support.
Governance is not only, governance not only about president, about governors. What you're talking about, PDP governors, APC governors, and Labour Party, and so it's a governance about state, local government, as well as federal level. So nobody should come here and say all the problem Nigeria should be blamed on Aswaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Governors should also take responsibility.
All right, Your Excellency, we must thank you for your time. We hope to have you again as we build up to the anniversary midterm. Thank you, sir, for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, ma'am.
Absolutely. We'll take a quick break and a short one. When we come back, we'll speak with Chief Bode George, the life member of the PDP Board of Trustees. He's going to respond to some of the things that the governor said right here on the program. Join us again. Welcome back. Let's bring in my guest, senior citizen, elder statesman, life member of the PDP Board of Trustees, Chief Bode George, joins us virtually. Chief, thank you so much for your patience and for coming on the program, sir.
My pleasure always, and it's very, very interesting listening to the governor of Kaduna State.
And that's exactly where, yes, that's exactly where I want you to start from. Maybe you piggyback on some of the things, maybe you agree or disagree with him, and then we can see how much time allows us to take your thoughts.
Yeah, I enjoyed listening to him, and he was very pragmatic, very convincing, and I wish him the best of luck. I was told that the insurrection and the instability in the northern part of the country, especially in the northwest, was getting more disturbing. And when I then saw the news where they met, the governors and the members of the Senate and the House of Reps and all the ministers and all that, starting to comment that they are ready to support the president, the current president, for 2027. That would be quite challenging. But it was very convincing listening to this gentleman, and I enjoyed it, his expose. And as we go along, I will let you know my own thoughts.
Okay, Chief. Let's start with some of the things or the remarks we got from there. One of the remarks we got, the political remarks, is to the effect that the PDP is literally dead. That's why, as we speak, Chief, we have 80-something lawmakers, both in the Senate and the House of Reps, have moved from the PDP to the APC. And one governor, one deputy, as well as other members, like in Delta State. And this has been a conversation we had for a very long time. And for them, they feel that besides the challenge you have in your party, it's also the part of, in their own view, what the president is doing to win more people. What's your thoughts?
Let me be quite frank. I am happy he mentioned 3 issues: justice, fairness, and equity. It's a tripod that stabilizes any organization. Now, those who are jumping ship and going from PDP to APC, whether in the Senate, anywhere, to me, I see them as people who have no inner cement to hold their guts, and as people who have no moral fortification. They are double-minded dealers. Now, if you are going from one particular sport and you've been committed to that sport, you are elected to that sport, you are honored by the electorate for that sport. What has the opposition party done to attract you? Yes, we have our own internal crisis. And I am praying and I'm hoping that by the 27th, when we meet, we will reestablish this political Iroko tree in Nigeria. We have a system, we have a procedure, we have laws, we have analysis by which, processes by which you emerge and do this and do that. Looking at what is it that would have attracted them? Yeah, the governor of Kaduna centered his major discussion on the fact that when he was elected after swearing in, he said that he is governor of everybody. He is governor to service the people. He is governor to put smile on the faces of the people. And that the insurrection that had almost engulfed the whole of Kaduna state before has now reduced. And he gave reasons: development for the people, you know, infrastructural development, educational development, agricultural development, putting smiles on the faces of these people. Is that what the APC party nationally has done? Look at Delta. These guys have no internal cement to hold their guts. What are they telling the people? You yourself, you mentioned that there is hunger in the land, and therefore there is anger in the land. So what is it that has attracted those people jumping ship, if not for personal aggrandizement? What have they done? I can see it. And he said, well, they've started, but they are not yet there. And so what is the attraction? As politicians, is it only for their own personal gain that they are looking at? What about the impact? What is democracy? It's all about the management of the resources of the land for the benefit of the people. That is not what they have done now. And I am hoping that by the 27th of this month, we will meet, close the doors, and tell ourselves some home truths. Those who cannot abide by the rules and regulations of the party, we can throw them out. The NEC has the authority and the powers to do that. We should tell ourselves some serious home truths, come back to the position as laid down by the founding fathers of our party. All the things that he spoke about were put into consideration before we had the process of imagine as a president or this, or imagine as a senator or whatever. And it was PDP that divided Nigeria into 6 geopolitical zones: the Northwest, the Northeast, the North Central, the Southeast, the Southwest, the Southwest, the South. So that, and they now divided Nigeria with the topmost 6 positions. So everybody, every zone, whether you are minority or majority, will go home with something you can tell to your people. And it was the manipulation, the interpolation of all this, you know, trying to woo things to yourselves that caused this mayhem in the PDP. And we will put it right. So, okay, my brother, I don't see what, for me, and for a load of electorate, all right, they are waiting for the attraction. Right now, how do they pay the school fees of their children? How do they eat 3 meals a day, even 2 meals a day? How do you, when you are sick and you go to the hospital, who treats you? And how well do they treat you? And this insurrection, you know what has happened in the Northwest and in the North generally. Now, they have exposed the young minds to education. And the first lesson I learned in school was education makes people easy to rule, but impossible to deceive. These young minds, I have a lot of political sons in the North. They have honored me, the Northern Youth Council. They came and said, Baba, look, we have gone to university. We have graduated. There is no future. There is no hope. There is no food. We have gone back to our Baba's huts. And they see still all the so-called big wigs running with bulletproof cars and whatever, and they look at it. What is the future? You said go to school. We've been there. No challenges. No future. And that's why they are reacting. Because, look, you know what? How can an illiterate derail a moving train? Is it possible? So I like the way he's doing this analysis. Let him open up. Tell themselves some serious home truth. The populace, the majority of those young minds are getting very agitated and angry. Yes.
All right, Chief. So let me see how many questions I can squeeze in. So we are missing the luxury of a solid opposition. What we have are lone voices, yours, Atiku Abubakar, Peter Obi, because that's what democracy is supposed to be. We're supposed to have a formidable opposition. Now the big tent issue about shadow government and the controversy. So let's stay with your party and how to redeem things. Now, one of the things I want you to speak to, you can pick back on it to talk to other things within what we have. So the issue of, I saw 2 letters sent to INEC concerning who the governorship the governorship candidate rather of the People's Democratic Party.
Anambra.
Yes, Anambra, in Anambra that is taking place. I think one was signed by, in fact, I saw 2 letters emanating from the PDP. One was signed by Ayahu, and then another Sam Ayahu, and the other one was signed by another gentleman called Architect. I've forgotten his full name. But both letters had Umar Damagun signing side by side with them. What is the role of the acting national chairman in bringing stability? Is it that each side is forging his signature, or he's not able to hold the party, or is helpless in that situation?
You know, the highest authority in our party is the National Convention. The next level of authority is the National Executive Committee of the party, and we are yet to meet. The National Working Committee of the party manages the day-to-day affairs of the party. Now, the Governors Forum, it's a pressure group, and a formidable pressure group. They had come up with these observations. They have come up with, certain suggested agenda for the NEC meeting. Now, somehow, they also called themselves and said, look, before we go to that NEC meeting, let us have, that's the Governors Forum with the former governors and the current seven governors, to make sure that there is this committee headed by Saraki to moderate the scenarios so that there wouldn't be further conflagration when we get to NEC. They wanted NEC. They would like to see the NEC being seamless, being peaceful, and being family-like. Now, this issue of who is signing one letter and all this should never have happened in normal circumstances. Now, these are these issues that would be debated, discussed at NEC. NEC is the final authority. So suggestions that they had made, I don't know why the acting national chairman signed on both sides. Maybe he was trying to ensure that he doesn't run foul of the law, because people said Ayahu should have signed, and others said no, Ayahu was not approved by the Governors Forum, and that the National Working Committee too was divided. Now, all these things, we have learned a lot of lessons watching them. Look, somebody like me, I spent 10 years at the national headquarters of our party. Elected, we were the first elected managers, the day-to-day managers of the party in 1999, December. And a load of shenanigans, a load of manipulation, people thinking, oh, you are much smarter. The rules are clear. The ground norm, very clear, explicitly laid down. But when you see people, because of personal aggrandizement, because of self-conceitedness, they start turning A over and trying to say B must be before A. All this rubbish will end by the 27th of this month by the grace of God. The important thing is that the Trump claimed that we may not have a candidate in Anambra if Anyanwu didn't sign. Others said it didn't make a difference whether Anyanwu signed or Kushedo signed. But at least the two letters are in and our candidate has been accepted. When we get to the 27th of this month, by the grace of God, you know, the three major organs of the party will meet. The National Caucus of the party, which is a representation of each zone. I represent the Southwest zone in that caucus. Okay, we will meet. Then the Board of Trustees of the party will also meet. These are elders.
Okay.
These are the custodians. These are the people who own the assets and the liabilities of the party. They will also meet. Then NEC will meet. Whatever decision we make in NEC that day, will be final.
All right, Chief, thank you so much. We're looking forward to 27th to see how it plays out.
It will be well.
Okay, we're hoping to have the opposition, wherever that opposition is coming from. We're hoping to have it
absolutely.
A good democracy.
And Nigerians are also waiting. Nigerians are waiting. They want to see how better this country can be managed.
Yes, because when the APC was in opposition, they gave us opposition. So we need that now to balance the democracy. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Chief Bode George, the life member of the People's Democratic Party and elder statesman. Thank you, sir, for always coming through whenever we call. We appreciate it.
Thank you. My pleasure. Thank you.
And that's it on the program. Thank you so much for your time and, of course, your usual company. I'm Jeffrey Uzama. Sean Okumbaloyi returns tomorrow on the program. Thank you so much for being part of it. Bye-bye.